It was an ordinary Thursday morning in the glass-walled offices of Sterling Heights Corporate Tower, but for one man it was anything but ordinary. The CEO, Mr. Victor Hale, a man of sharp suits and sharper instincts, sat in his penthouse office overlooking the bustling city. To the world, he was untouchable, a self-made billionaire known for his cold precision efficiency and an infamous rule: no one gets sympathy in business. But that morning, Victor wasn't planning a meeting, a merger, or a speech. He was planning a test. For weeks he had heard whispers about the new janitor, a quiet man named Evan Cross, mid-40s, single father, and known among staff for his unwavering discipline and kindness. Rumors said Evan never took a break, always cleaned the same way, careful, patient, and respectful. Some even said he sang softly while mopping the halls. Victor didn't believe in rumors, he believed in proof, and so, to satisfy a curious thought that tugged at him, a thought about character, he decided to stage a small test. That morning he ordered the blinds half drawn, dimmed the lights, and leaned back in his office chair, pretending to be asleep. His goal was simple: see if the janitor would slack off, steal, or speak when he thought no one was watching. He rested his chin against his hand, feigned a slow breath, and waited as the quiet hum of the air conditioning filled the air. Before we go further, if you believe kindness and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. It helps stories like this reach more hearts that still believe in goodness. Moments later, the soft sound of a mop bucket's wheels echoed against the marble floor. The door creaked open and Evan Cross entered, gray uniform slightly worn, sleeves rolled, hands roughened by years of work. He moved quietly, respectfully, as though even his presence might disturb the air. His posture carried exhaustion, but his eyes, they carried something deeper, a quiet dignity, a quiet pain. He glanced toward Victor's chair and froze for a moment. Seeing the CEO apparently asleep, he exhaled slowly and continued his work. Every stroke of the mop was careful, rhythmic, precise. He didn't waste a movement. He didn't sigh, didn't mutter complaints, didn't look around for shortcuts. He simply cleaned. But what struck Victor most, from behind his closed eyelids, wasn't the man's diligence. It was the sound of a whisper. Evan whispered softly as he worked, his voice trembling with emotion. "You're doing good, son. I'm trying, I promise. Just a little longer." Victor's chest tightened. He'd expected to hear maybe a sigh of boredom, a mutter about low pay, but not this. Not a father's whisper to someone who wasn't there. He cracked his eyes open slightly. Evan had pulled a small photograph from his pocket and placed it on the desk near the cleaning rag. The photo showed a boy, maybe 10 years old, thin but bright-eyed, wearing a hospital gown, smiling weakly at the camera. Evan took a deep breath, pressing his hand briefly on the photo, as if drawing strength from it. "Hang in there, buddy," he murmured. "Dad's gonna make sure you get that surgery. Just one more paycheck." Victor's throat went dry. He almost revealed himself right then, but something inside him wanted to keep watching, not out of curiosity anymore, but from a place he hadn't felt in years. Something human. The janitor moved toward the corner of the office and noticed an envelope sticking out from under a stack of folders on Victor's desk. It was slightly open, the edge revealing what looked like a thick wad of cash, maybe a travel reimbursement or a company errand fund. Victor waited. This was the moment he'd set up the test for. Would the janitor take it? Just a small part of it. Just a bill. Evan hesitated. His eyes lingered on it for a fraction of a second, his breathing slowed, but then he turned away. He picked up the envelope carefully, pressed the flap closed, and placed it neatly on the far corner of the desk. Then, under his breath, he whispered again, "We don't steal, Jamie. Ever. Even when it hurts." Victor's hand twitched. The janitor went back to work until every inch of the floor gleamed. When he finished, he turned toward the desk again, looking at the photo once more. He smiled softly, wiped the dust from the frame, and whispered, "One day you'll walk again, buddy. I'll make sure of it." Then he quietly left the office, closing the door behind him. Victor didn't move for a full minute. When he finally opened his eyes completely, his vision blurred slightly, not from sleep, but from something else he hadn't felt in a long time: shame. He stood, walked around the desk, and stared at the photo the man had left behind. On the back, scribbled in pen, were the words Jamie Cross, 10 years old, born a fighter. That night, Victor couldn't sleep. He kept hearing that whisper, "We don't steal, Jamie. Ever. Even when it hurts." It echoed through his penthouse, through his marble floors, through the walls of his luxury, reminding him of what he'd long forgotten. Years ago, he too had been a boy like Jamie. He'd grown up in a small apartment, raised by a single mother who worked nights cleaning offices just like his. She used to tell him something similar: don't lose your decency, even if life tries to take it. But somewhere along the way he had. Success had numbed him. The next morning, Victor arrived early, long before his usual staff. He called the payroll department and asked them for Evan Cross's employee file. It showed minimal wages, no benefits, and a history of perfect attendance. In the remarks section, someone had noted refused charity offer for son's treatment, wants to earn it honestly. That line hit Victor harder than any business loss ever could. Later that day, when Evan came to clean again, Victor didn't pretend to sleep this time. He waited. When the door opened and Evan entered, he was startled to see the CEO standing by the window, hands in pockets. "Good morning, Mr. Hale," Evan said nervously, his voice respectful but cautious. Victor nodded slowly. "Good morning, Evan. I wanted to thank you personally. The office has never looked better." Evan blinked, unsure how to respond. "Thank you, sir. I just try to do my job right." Victor turned, his gaze steady. "You do more than that. You do it with integrity. I saw it yesterday." Evan froze. His face went pale, realizing what the CEO meant. "You saw me?" Victor nodded. Every word. Evan swallowed hard, embarrassment and worry mixing in his expression. "Sir, I wasn't talking to myself. I was just thinking about my son. I didn't mean to." Victor raised a hand gently. "You don't have to explain, Evan. Your son's lucky to have you." The janitor's eyes glistened, but he quickly lowered his head. "Thank you, sir. He's a good kid. Just had a bad accident last year. I'm trying to get him the treatment he needs. I'll manage somehow." Victor hesitated before speaking again. "And if I told you there was a way you wouldn't have to do it alone?" Evan looked up, startled. That day changed everything. Victor secretly arranged for a full sponsorship through a company foundation initiative, but without revealing himself as the donor. Evan received notice weeks later that his son's hospital had been granted full coverage for the procedure, as part of a new community care program. The joy on Evan's face when he read the letter was something the office staff never forgot. He wept quietly in the hallway, hands trembling, whispering, "Thank you, God," over and over. Behind the scenes, Victor continued to watch. But he didn't stop there. He invited Evan to a meeting weeks later, not in the CEO's office, but in the new department being created for facility leadership. "You've been promoted, Mr. Cross," Victor told him. "You'll oversee the janitorial teams company-wide. Your work ethic deserves more than silence." Evan was speechless. "Sir, I don't know what to say." Victor smiled faintly. "Just keep doing what you've always done. The right thing." As months passed, Jamie's surgery was a success. The boy began to walk again, each step slow but steady. When Evan showed his son around the company building for the first time, Victor saw them from afar. A father holding his child's hand, guiding him proudly through the place that once only knew him as a cleaner. That moment, seeing the boy take his first step across the polished floor his father used to mop, was the day Victor finally understood something money had never taught him. Decency doesn't need wealth, it only needs heart. Years later, the company changed. New policies for workers, better wages, family health coverage. It all started because a CEO pretended to sleep and woke up to humanity. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us share real stories that remind the world that kindness still exists, and sometimes it's found in the quietest corners of life.